From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Alison Mitchell in Adelaide, settled into my cousin's house in the Western Beach suburbs, which is a real favourite stretch of soft, pale sand and sand dunes here. The seafront's changed a bit over the years. It's grown more popular, more amenities means more people. But I've been enjoying some relative freedom here compared to the situation in the UK with the different tiers of lockdowns. And indeed, COVID in Cape Town has seen the end of the England cricket tour over there. But the Big Bash is getting underway here in Australia. And indeed, Jim Maxwell, the tests are just around the corner.
Yes, it's Jim Maxwell in Sydney, and we're sort of moving through the colours slowly. We're going from white to pink, and eventually we'll get to the reds when we reach Melbourne. But at this stage, the fair dinkum cricket, as I call it, is about to start. We've had enough of the appetisers with all these frolics going on. So in Adelaide, it'll be the real deal. And hopefully we get quite a few people in the ground as we gradually have more of these restrictions being removed. As we've just heard, Boxing Day now is out to 30,000, maybe 50 by the time we actually get there.
And that's not dinosaur speak, is it, Jim? Hello, this is Charu Sharma from Bangalore for All India Radio, where, by the way, I have discovered the closest thing to the impossible. So, now that I got your attention, it's to try and get a tea time at my inner city golf club. It's impossible because we've got this big league event going on and people are not traveling anymore, so everybody's playing golf and it's just such a mess. So I go out there most days with a begging bowl to the starter's hut and I say, please, 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 So some days we get to play and some days we don't. But cricket-wise, of course, our domestic season is still up and it's a question mark. We haven't started yet, and that is the cause for much of the problem. But fortunately, of course, the Indian team in Australia did win the T20 series, so it's all kind of square in a sense, and have set up our red ball finale really well, haven't they?
Oh, Charu, if your biggest issue in life at the moment is whether you can get a tea time, I want your life.
Hard times,
I've enjoyed a little bit of downtime in this last week, just before the commentary work will crank up, and I had a lovely ride on horseback through the Adelaide Hills, south of Adelaide. But yes, we are less than a week away from the start of what will be a blockbuster test series between Australia and India right here in Adelaide. It's just a few kilometres down the road from me. In fact, you can cycle from the mouth of the River Torrens right into the city and up to the Adelaide Oval, which is a beautiful ride along Linear Park is what it's called. But Jim, the Australia top order, it's occupying a fair amount of column inches in the papers because regular opener David Warner is out due to that groin injury that he suffered in the ODI series. And Joe Burns, who was his opening partner last summer, well, he's horribly out of form, scored just 4 runs in 2 innings against India in the Australia A warm-up game in Sydney. And then Will Pucovski, who in contrast has been in superb form in the Sheffield Shield, well, he looked certain to get a start, what with Warner's injury, but now he himself is almost certainly ruled out after suffering yet another concussion. Hit on the head in the closing stages of that Australia A game. That is quite a turn of events. Where does it leave, Jim, the likely Aussie lineup?
Well, it leaves the selectors in a quandary as to what they do. Do they go for the stopgap at the top of the order and push Labuschagne or Wade or Marcus Harris probably alongside Burns if Pucovski is unable to play? And in these days of looking after players, occupational health and safety and the rest of it, and Pucovski's history, you wonder if he's really able to play. Is that too much of a risk? And then you've got the other side of it with Cameron Green scoring 100 very impressively in the first Australia A game. Where does he fit into the side? So they've got a few good and awkward issues to deal with the hope that Warner would be back for the Boxing Day test. Anyway, it's times like this you'd rather be picking up the newspaper to see what's being done than being a selector. Very difficult decision. The bowlers, not a problem. But the batting...
They pick themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Anyway, it's giving everyone plenty to talk and write about.
Well, I want to talk more about Cameron Green, and we will do in a moment. But Charu, do you think all this leaves India with a sense of an opportunity for this opening test now?
Absolutely. I mean, they look for every possible quarter. And as we all know, the value of early wickets at the top, the top order wickets is tremendous. So if India can have Australia at any given point of time, say even 50 for 2, if I'm not being too ambitious, I think psychologically it's a huge step forward. Of course, they still have Steve Smith, who they don't quite know how to get out anymore. And but advantage Australia still, Alison, because they are playing under home conditions. Yes, India beat them the last time for the first time ever, but I still think the Australian bowlers, all of them, will be able for selection. I wonder how Mitch Starc is doing, though, because he had some sort of strain, didn't he, earlier on? But if he's still on, I think that department will still be very strong for Australia. And the only place that India will still struggle to score runs, because they just haven't played that much red ball cricket at all in the last 6-8 months. So I think India will certainly start on the back foot. But this minor advantage, even though it comes because of some form of injury to Warner, I think they will take happily.
And Mitch Starc was on compassionate leave. A family illness led him to miss the end of the T20 series. And he's been told, certainly Justin Lang said, he will have as much time as he needs. So we'll wait to see on that front. But Jim's already mentioned Cameron Green, and he is a player who's impressed greatly. He's an uncapped 21-year-old. Western Australian all-rounder, and he made an unbeaten 100 against the touring Indians this week and gets another chance to press his claims in the day-night warm-up match at the SCG. So does the youngster feel ready to make his Test debut?
You never really know if you're ready, but all I can really do is just play well in the next game. So it's going to be another tough challenge versing obviously the full-strength India side in the pink ball in Sydney. So yeah, I'll just see how we go. Just keep trying to perform, and it'll be up to the selectors to decide that.
Just wondering, going into this tour match, how much experience have you had playing with the pink ball, and are you excited to sort of get a chance with it?
I've never actually ever faced it before. For whatever reason, I keep dodging the day-night games back in domestic cricket. So I'll have a training session today. That'll be the first time I ever face it or bowl with it. So that'll be pretty interesting. So I'll just, there's a lot of guys in the team that have played with pink ball before, so I'll try and bounce off as many ideas off those guys as I can. But I've never faced it before.
Well, that was Cameron Green speaking to reporters on a video call earlier this week. It's sort of strange to hear a player say they've never faced a pink ball now, because it's been around for a number of seasons, and certainly, yes, domestically it's used. But Jim, he's going to have to learn fast, isn't he? You're actually going to be at the SCG for that game, aren't you?
Yes, looking forward to seeing some cricket out there. And if Cameron Green continues to play impressively against the pink ball, which they're obviously using in this game as a warm-up for the Test match, then his qualifications for selection go up a notch. But whether they'll go down that route or try to sort of hold off, given the disruption at the top of the order, to have some sort of continuity of playing strength from where they last played Test cricket, which was January in 2020. So he's also got the ability to bowl pretty sharp as well. He's not considered an all-rounder of quality at this point, but one who's clearly got some potential, and it's always handy to have another bowler. So that adds another notch, I suppose, in terms of his likelihood of being selected. One to keep an eye on. At some point, he'll be making a debut for Australia during this series.
Yeah, it'll be exciting when it happens. Charu, so what shape are India in, thinking of the Test match? Virat Kohli was in pretty good nick during the white ball series, and India bouncing back well from defeat in the ODIs to then take out the T20s. And in the red ball, and obviously Kohli's just got this one Test match in Adelaide before he goes home for the birth of his first child. The red ball warm-up game, admittedly India were without all of their Test players, Australia the same, because of that white ball series, somewhat involved in that. But India were largely outplayed despite that pretty good century from Ajinkya Rahane.
Well, he then, of course, pushes himself into the team. He was always a part of the Test team. And, of course, so should Cheteshwar Pujara, who was very much a Test specialist. Yeah, India are certainly not very well prepared. You mentioned the pink ball. Cameron Green haven't not played a single match yet. Most of the Indians are also, very far away from being called pink ball specialists. So they will certainly suffer in that pink ball test. Whereas we know Australia has won every pink ball test in Australia very handsomely. So that's going to be a very difficult start for India. The other problem with the absence of Kohli, of course, is going to be the whole leadership issue. Now, I'm the first one to say that captaincy has a very limited role to play, perhaps more so as as in a bigger role in test matches because there's so much action going on over 5 days. But that too is going to be interesting to see how the Indians handle it and whether Kohli's absence as a leader is going to make a difference. Certainly his batting is going to be missed. Also, Rohit Sharma's mystery injury and rehabilitation continues. So I really think that
where
even though
is
he hasn't played, yeah, well, actually a bit in Bangalore because this is the National Cricket Academy and it's sort of like the recovery home for just about everybody in the injury list. And that's where they go. If he's not fully fit, because I still think even though he hasn't played too many test matches for some strange reason, it was a checkered start, his absence is going to be also very crucial for India in case he can't play. Ishant Sharma, as we know, has already been ruled out for another, injury-related reason. He did rather well in Australia the last time around to ensure that India won. So I think there are problems in every possible department for India.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on All India Radio.
Next on Stumped, to the inspiring story of the Filipino domestic helpers making big waves on the cricket scene in Hong Kong. Josie Treyas and Chris Hindoy are among 130,000 women from the Philippines who earn a living cooking, cleaning and looking after the children of mostly British expat families. Their only day off is a Sunday, and on that day off, an increasingly large group of them are choosing to play cricket. Their team, the SCC Divas, has made a remarkable impact, winning Hong Kong's Development League twice in their first 2 seasons and then going unbeaten since stepping up to the main league this year. We'll hear from all-rounder Chris in a moment, but first, here's the captain and founder, Josie, on how the team got started.
5 years ago, I met some British friends here in Hong Kong, and they showed me cricket on TV. And yeah, I watched it, and I watched it actual in Hong Kong Cricket Club. And then I amazed because I haven't seen it before and I don't know how to play. So they helped me to try out in Hong Kong Cricket Club. They saw my throwing, catching, and then I'm a part of the team of Hong Kong Cricket Club. And also 2017, we make a team like all Filipino. And I said, fine, because I have so many friends in baseball and softball. So we try to talk, and of course, I'm looking for a sponsors, a manager, and then we start with a 30 squad. So we stay in the field every Sunday.
Chris, there's so many things you could do on your one day off. Why do you choose cricket?
Actually, I joined cricket because I love sports. It keeps me more active, more productive, I guess. And at the same time, while playing, while in the field, I can be more of myself, like real self, playing or just cheering with my teammates who are playing. And then not only because I love cricket or I love sports, but also I want to make use of the one day privilege that Hong Kong government has given to me. Every time I go for a holiday on a Sunday, I want to go home, and then I can proudly say to myself that, oh, I did great today.
What do your family back at home make of you playing cricket?
They're amazed. They're very proud with me because I'm a founder of the first Filipino cricketers in whole world, and I am the captain. So I'm proud, and my family very happy. Yeah.
And the same for you, Chris.
Yes, they're so proud, of course. My friends keeps congratulating me, and then I'm just so flattered and overwhelmed.
And also, we are not only playing here in Hong Kong cricket. We also help charity in the Philippines. We also help some people facing crisis, especially the typhoon or the floods or whatever happened in the Philippines. We start funding, helping charity.
Chris, what do you hope for the cricket team that you're part of? Is it social for you, or do you want to take your sport seriously?
Honestly, before I played cricket just to have fun. I just want to spend my Sunday happily. But now when I joined, and then I have a bigger goal for the team and for myself. Before I just played for fun, but now I'm aiming for the MVP. Even for one game, even for once. I want to see my name after the game. MVP, it's me. So that's the biggest dream. Yeah, it's for me. If you aim it and then you work for it, it will not be impossible.
I think we are very lucky and the players are improving. We think positive. Even though we are very tired working from Monday to Saturday, we still have energy to play Sunday.
From the BBC World Service, this is Stumped on All India Radio.
Now, just before we wrap up the show, Charu, I want to come to you because some news that the former India wicket-keeper Parthiv Patel has now retired from all forms of the game. Were you expecting that?
Yeah, that was just yesterday. Well, I don't think... I'm sure he was hanging on to the possibility of a continuing international career, and he might have finally given up on that, considering he's now 36, but still pretty fit, contributes to his IPL teams quite regularly. But yeah, it's important only in that he actually came on the scene before Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He and Dinesh Karthik were the two big hopes for India, and he will always have some level of fame for being the second youngest Indian to make it to the Test squad at 17 years and a few days. Not the finest keeper at that point of time, dropped a few sitters, considered to be iron gloves, and got back to it, got really good at it. Took his home state, Gujarat, to the highs. They finally won the Ranji Trophy, symbol of supremacy in India in 2016, I think it was, by beating Mumbai. So he's done a lot for the game, but just never could play enough. Now, you feel really sorry, doubly so, for somebody who makes his debut at 17 and something and plays only a handful of games for the country thereafter, and then retires at 36. So in that sense, a bit of a tragedy. But, he could bat anywhere in the team, can open for the team, a very useful keeper. And one just felt sorry that his potential was never really fully, in a sense, achieved in the world of international cricket. Just a very nice young man, I've got to say. And what a shame that he didn't quite get to play for India quite as much, because sometimes you enter or you conflict with eras of such as a Dhoni era. Can you imagine how many wonderful young batsmen didn't play because Sachin was number 4 for India? So similarly, he's had a good influence on the game.
Well, that's all for this week's Stumped on All India Radio. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. We're at BBCWS Sport via the hashtag BBC Stumped. Thanks to my co-hosts Jim Maxwell and Charu Sharma, to all of our guests, and to you for listening. Join us again next time. Bye for now.
Stumped is a BBC sport production for the BBC World Service in association with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation and All India Radio.